Ladies and gentlemen, it's Titoclock. So please welcome your host, James Deacon.
What up, Titoclockers? It's me, Tita James, and it's the rest of the crew all here today, all up until 6 p.m. We've got a really cool show lined up for you. I tell you what, the whole team is here in one room, and we're all working out all the kinks, all of those technical gremlins. Surely, hopefully, fingers crossed, that none of them hit us today. But the most important thing is not the technical, it's the people behind the screen. That's right. You. That's right. Let's see if Mayan's first or is it June? There's this unofficial competition going on. Mayan beat you, June. May is really always before June talaga, diba? May, June, July, Tita joke. But, you know, June, when you come before May, it's kind of throws things out. But I really appreciate you always being there. And also, we've got Miko Baltazar and Ian Arkelana. Randolph is there too. Hey, Randolph, what's up? We've also got Gerard Nonito, Maria Teresa Lopez, and we lost our music. There we go. We got music. Well, we're trying, right? Michael Tumala and John Abby Quintalia. All right, I think we've done a roll call, and we have a big show to get through today. So let's rush through it. Well, not rush, but let's get straight to it, because aside from the Free Plug Fridays and all our regular segments like the news and the inbox, etc., we also have a very, very important discussion to have with Paolo Alcazaren regarding the very, what we call it, controversial barracks. Well, everyone's talking about it, and I myself have to confess, I don't know enough about it to be able to tell you whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing. So what I will do instead is I will put that out to a professional, somebody who does that for a living, and see what he says. So hopefully we can all get enlightened and educated later on in the show. This is not about slamming the idea down or selling it to you, because I myself am also going to be getting the same lesson that you go through as we talk to him about it. So all that and more is coming up in the show. But in the meantime, let's kick things off how we always do, with the latest in headlines. And for that, we need Chris. Chris, what you got there for us, Chris?
Yes, hello, good afternoon, Tita James. Hello, my fellow Tito Clockers. Happy Friday! This is Chris for your Tito Clock News. Over 2.1 million doses of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine and 661,100 doses from AstraZeneca arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport today at around 9:20 a.m. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 said the AstraZeneca doses were all procured by the private sector, while 1,384,280 Moderna vaccines were bought by the government and 747,860 doses were purchased by the private sector. Part of the deliveries will be used in the pilot implementation of the vaccination of children and adolescents aged 12 to 17 years old on October 15. In February, the total vaccine deliveries to the Philippines reached 81.4 million doses. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. earlier said the country's COVID-19 vaccine supply may reach over 100 million doses by the end of October. As of October 7, the country has completely vaccinated 22.8 million people. Over 26 million Filipinos have received partial protection. The Department of Health, or DOH, said yesterday the government may allow in-person classes in Metro Manila if the number of COVID-19 infections and the healthcare utilization rate of the capital region is going down. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said an area has to be classified as low or minimal risk to be included in the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes. A total of 120 schools will participate in the pilot face-to-face classes that will start in November 15. As of October 2, 59 schools have gained approval to join the rollout. Initial face-to-face classes will run from November 15 to December 22, while the end of the pilot study on its implementation is set on January 31, 2022. By February, the Department of Education is expected to evaluate the pilot study, identify other schools for expansion of face to face classes, inspect sites, and present a proposed expansion to President Duterte. The Japanese government gifted the Philippine Army with some 46.6 million peso worth of brand new equipment to further boost its disaster response capability. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and Army Chief Lieutenant General Andres Centino received on Wednesday the equipment in simple rites at the Army's Fort Bonifacio headquarters in Taguig City. Japan, represented by Ambassador Kazuhiko Kochikawa, donated humanitarian assistance and disaster response or HADR equipment, including lifeboats and vests, chainsaws, digging tools, lighting apparatus with generators, and other items used in search and rescue operations. The HADR equipment will be turned over to the Army's 51st Engineering Brigade, the standby disaster response unit in Metro Manila and neighboring areas. The donation is part of Japan's capability building assistance to the Philippines. In the same vein, Australian Ambassador Stephen Robinson said Canberra was also working with the Philippine government on Philippine Civil Maritime Security Program, a new program that would strengthen Manila's capabilities to protect its waters. The government of the United Kingdom on Thursday announced it will be moving a number of countries, including the Philippines, off its travel red list by Monday, October 11. This means fully vaccinated Filipino nationals can travel to the UK to visit family and friends without having to complete a pre-departure COVID-19 test, quarantine for 10 full days, and take a post-arrival COVID-19 test. To qualify, travelers must be fully vaccinated at least 14 days before arrival in the UK. The following are the approved vaccines: Oxford's AstraZeneca, Pfizer's BioNTech, Moderna, and Janssen. The UK said it will also be recognizing the formulations of the said vaccines: AstraZeneca Covishield, AstraZeneca Vaxzevria, and Moderna Takeda. Fully vaccinated travelers would have to present a proof of vaccination or a vaccine certificate. Regardless of vaccination status, all arrivals are still required to take a day 2 COVID-19 test and complete a passenger locator form. Anyone arriving in the UK from the Philippines before October 11 must still follow the red list rules. That's all for today's headlines. Are we ready for Professor Tito James? Because it's time to look at the inbox. Oh, yeah.
Go for it. Let the assault begin.
Here we go. The first one is a daytime robbery that happened in May 2021. Viewer discretion is advised.
Uy. Now lalo pa I want to watch. Oh, yeah, this is an old video, right? Still disturbing, though.
Yes.
What, May of 2021?
Yes.
Did they ever say where this was?
Well, that's not sure where it is.
Well, that Picanto has a Philippine plate on it, so I'm not sure about those motorcycle plates. But one more time, and then see if you can pause it right in the beginning. Whoop! You see the TSJ? That looks like a Philippine plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's pretty scary stuff. Because I mean, the reason I just I tend to look at these videos sometimes and they're recycled one, but that plate, it looks totally legit. So yeah, sometimes these are recycled from other countries like Brazil and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess not this one. All right, nope. Be careful, folks. Be careful.
Yes. Although, please be vigilant.
Just give it, man. I mean, honestly, if that somebody puts a gun to your face in the traffic, just give whatever they're asking for. Really not worth it.
That's true.
Okay.
All right. Next is called Thank Goodness for Reflexes. Ang galing ni Kuya, actually.
So
let's see this one.
You should really watch this. Okay, what's this? What we got here? Okay.
Right. There we go.
Wow.
And then, Kuya says, kalma lang. Ayon.
So may commentary pa si Kuya.
Yes, because his passenger was saying, "Kuya, kuya, 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 kuya." And then he says, "Kalma lang,
Galing
kalma,
kuya.
kalma."
Salute. All right, man.
Very calm and composed, diba?
Pretty scary stuff how that happened, though.
I
What
know.
were they doing that caused that accident? Oh, my God. One last time, one last time.
What was
Nagit-gitan
the
ba yan? Or
driver? I
I
don't
think he
even
just braked.
understand.
I don't understand either. I can't see it, but that's you can safely say that that's tailgating because you're supposed to allow a distance between those two cars in case
Mm-hmm.
something stupid like this happens.
Yes. Whew,
Okay.
muntik na.
So the lesson here, it's always got to come with a lesson, right?
Oh,
Leave
yes.
a safe
Yes,
distance.
Professor.
Always leave a safe distance. Even Kuya over here obviously left a safe enough distance that when it happened, he was able
Yes,
to maneuver
true,
out of
true.
it. So don't rely just on your reflexes. Give yourself a safety margin.
Yes,
Hmm.
I agree. Thank you so much for that advice. And thank you for your calmness, Kuya Driver. You are awesome. All right. Next up, halfway there, we have what's called good luck with that. Let's see this image. Really funny.
Okay. No, come on.
Good luck in the.
Oh my God! This just dawned on me now. Oh,
Hindi ko alam kung nagjo-joke ba
they're,
muna
they're,
sila dyan.
they're- that's comedy, right? They're not. No, it looks legit.
I hope so, but it looks
Like
legit.
initially, when I saw it initially, I was like, okay, that's a bad idea to tow a motorcycle in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized where he was tying it.
Yes. Paano? Paano talaga, Tito?
Oh my God, this is just too
Paano,
funny.
guys?
How's the music coming across on the background there? Because we're trying a new system that doesn't, cut me
I can
out.
hear you properly, and I can
Okay, good.
hear the music properly. Yeah.
Okay.
And my
The
friend
timpla is
and my
okay?
friend also says they probably didn't think this through.
Okay.
That is so true.
Yeah, they did not.
They did not
I
think
wish
that
there was
through.
video calling the shortly after a few moments later,
A
and
few
then we see
moments later.
what happened. And when the penny drops, diba? You want to see their face when the penny, uy, oh
Mhm.
nga, no? Shouldn't hate them,
Mali
but yeah,
pala.
that's just okay. Gotta share that one after. Next.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have a customized parking. As in, you're gonna ask, paano?
Uy, oh my gosh.
Paano?
No,
Customized
I know how
parking for
this
a
happens.
customized vehicle.
I know how this happens, and it's one of those
Do tell.
elevators for cars. Yeah,
Yes.
and so you park. They obviously lifted the elevator, forgetting that there was a car on top. I've
Mhm.
done this with a bicycle on my roof rack. Not
Yeah.
quite as spectacular as this, but the same type of level of stupidity where you forget you have something on your
Whoosh,
roof.
whoosh.
Obviously, this poor person wouldn't have
Oh
seen
my
the Jeep
God.
on their roof when they pressed the
Yes.
button, but wow, talk about
Malas.
that yeah. Wow.
Malas talaga.
SUE, sudden unintended escalation. Ayun. That's
That
crazy.
escalated quickly.
So
All right.
that's the
Diba?
hashtag. All right, that's going on after the show. With
Okay.
that.
Last but not the least, Tito James is called Spider-Man in Manila. Sakto mag-Halloween na.
Uy, kuya. With great power comes great electricity. Boom.
Yes.
I gotta compete with
Badum.
sharp. That's why. Sharp.
Ano ba yan?
And she can't
Ulitin,
show with
ulitin natin yan. Ulitin natin yan,
humor,
Tito James. Ulit.
Okay, one more
One more time.
Oh, what's Kuya doing over there? Remember, with great power comes great electricity.
Oh, yeah! Ang galing.
Ang galing talaga. Pinaulit pa
Ang
para may
galing
fake pa.
talaga.
That is just
Oo.
like the height of epalness, If I was even a little more epal, I could have filed for candidacy today. Boom!
Boom! Ano yun? Sobrang lahat. What color are we gonna be wearing, Tito James? Pag
I'm not.
itong
I'm not gonna. I have to keep that really close to my chest. I got to be neutral here, but I'm noticing a lot of different. I'm noticing a vibe out there. I don't know about you, but I want to
Oh
stick.
yeah,
I want to remain as neutral as possible, and it's not because I
true.
don't have a candidate or I don't think this and that. It's just I think it's been very clear with the community here that we get things done together as a community.
Mm-hmm.
This page has
Yes,
always been about bringing people together, and we need that unity.
true.
Politics, by its very nature, is divisive. So,
Yes,
why
for
would I
sure.
put a color to anything that I do? Because it would distract. This same
Mm-hmm.
community here, I don't know if they're yellow, red, green, purple, pink. It doesn't matter to me. And the
Yes,
same goes for me. Because once make a stand, you know how politics works. So that's why I just keep
that's true.
quiet about it. But it's not that I don't feel things in my heart too, and I also have my own candidates and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, for the sake of moving forward,
Mhm.
I'll keep that
Let's
close to
just
my
do
chest.
our part, diba? Let's just do our
That's it.
part
Do
and
your part.
vote.
Because another thing that I just want to, at the risk of sounding over Tito-ish, politics also, you have to accept that traditionally politics, their politicians, should I say, are nothing but representatives of the people. So
Yes.
they, if they represent my interests, that doesn't necessarily mean they represent yours.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. So we vote for the people who we feel represent our interests or our concerns. My
Tama.
concerns are different to your concerns, different to X's and Y's and all that.
Yes.
So this is why
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't fight about politics, because we're all in a different spot where we need different representation. Respect is the key word.
Amen to that. Respect is the key indeed. And you heard it from Tito James, everybody. Let's give him a big, big round of applause. And yes, everybody has your vote, Tito James. Tito James for ano, for king,
Or
for king,
for vlogging, I don't know.
for vlogging. Sige, king of vlogs. Kung ano man yun. High five, Tito James, sabi ni Karen. Yes! All right, that's all we have for today, Tito James. Thank you so much and have a fantabulous weekend, everybody. And again, advance congratulations to all of our raffle winners. Avoid kamote people, but always choose happiness with some sugar rush. Let's all stay safe, healthy, and hydrated. This is Chris. See you guys. Bye! Mwah!
Always nice to have Chris's chirpy voice on a Friday afternoon. It makes us know the weekend is coming. That's right. That's my cue. And if you like Chris's voice, like we all do over here, you can hook up there. Not that kind of hookup, all right, guys? Malinis, please. What I mean is you can contact her there for voiceover work, hosting, etc., etc. This is how we like to sort of spread the love around. And of course, the opportunities, because that's what it's all about, surviving in this whole new normal after a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic, wherever we are in it. And one of the other ways that we survive is by keeping that economy circulating around the immediate circles that we are in, or our local economy, because if it spreads from there, that's the way you build up. And that's what we created Free Plug Friday for, which is just our little segment to just help out small businesses that don't have a budget to be able to promote their products and services. So they do it here. We don't charge them a cent. We're hoping that you find something you like. And if you do, please support them, because it goes a long, long way. But for that, we need XX. What you got in the box there, X?
Actually have a lot in store once again, but before we go there, I just want to say hi to all the Titoclockers. Welcome to another edition of Free Plug Friday! James, we can't start our Free Plug Friday without Tinapay by ADZ. So Tito James, Tinapay by ADZ started last April 2020 by a real estate broker as a way to pivot during the pandemic, and it all started by just letting their immediate family try out their ube pandesal. And now Tito James, they're making up to 500 breads per day. Tito James, imagine that, to think that the owners had zero background about baking. And how awesome is that, Tito James? Speaking of which, how did you find the product they sent over, Tito James?
The favorite one I had was the one that's sprang caramel.
It has dulce de leche.
Dulce, my
yes,
goodness.
that's ube pandesal.
Oh,
with
that
dulce
was
de
that was
leche.
leaking out, and it was really deadly. I mean, you know, the other ones are very good too. Ube, I tried it. Let's see, ube jam.
It was ube pandesal that had ube
A cheese.
halaya.
Yeah, okay, and then
cheese,
cheese.
yeah.
All right. Now I've tried that and it was good, but you know, I've tried a few of those, so there are reference points. This one was the first time I got this the dulce de leche thing. Maybe I'm late in the game. I don't know, but I was like impressed.
To be honest with you, Tito James, I have never tried something like that as well. Normally, the standard ones that they normally bake are ube pandesal that had either cheese or ube halaya or cream cheese. But this one with dulce de leche was really unique, and it wasn't too sweet. So it just had the right perfect balance of flavors, not too sweet, and you know, it just gets you going. It's not nakakasawa, if that's what you term it, right? And what's nice is how soft and fluffy the bread was. Did you notice
yes,
that?
I did.
How
I
perfectly
did.
baked it was?
It was super soft and fluffy.
I know. And Tito James, they also sent some classic cheese rolls, ube cheese rolls, and even an assorted mini ensaymada. I mean, it was also very soft and fluffy as well. And it could give MG, you know, a run for their money.
I was gonna say, could give Rocket a run for his money for being soft and fluffy.
Anyway, guys, price starts at 240 pesos for a box of 12 pieces ube pandesal with plain cheese, while it's 280 pesos for an assorted box that includes 3 different flavors, while it's 350 pesos for a box of 8 pieces of cheese rolls, 440 pesos for a box of 8 pieces of ube cheese rolls, and it's 350 pesos for an assorted mini ensaymada. Hope you can check them out. Tinapay by ADZ on Facebook and Instagram. Next, we go to Heart to Soul. So Heart to Soul is a samgyeopsal restaurant located in Hala Hala, Rizal that offers unlimited samgyeopsal for dine-in customers starting today, October 8th. Woohoo! And for those who want to try them out, price is 299 pesos for only pork, and it's 399 pesos per person for unlimited pork and beef. Hope you can check them out. Heart to Soul on Facebook and Instagram. Next, we go to Moonlight Over Paris. So, Tito James, Moonlight Over Paris started in 2020, and they offer frozen, ready-to-heat food such as chicks and mush, mixed Paris, beef belly Paris, beef tendon Paris, kare-kare, kalyos, caldereta, and chicken Paris. So, Tito James, how easy was the cooking or heating process for you?
Even a college student could do this.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's as easy as a 2-minute noodle thing. All you got to do is just pop it in the microwave. In fact, it's easier because you don't have to tear those little packets.
yeah.
That
And
always
you have to mix them and
always
stuff.
gets it into your fingernails and stuff like
Exactly.
that, and the oil. This one was just pop it into the microwave and then just set and forget. Or
Set and forget.
I tried one in the pot pan and
Mm-hmm.
just put it on medium-low heat or medium heat, and it was perfect.
Wow.
And you know, it feels like a home-cooked meal. So, you know, if you're living alone or you don't have the time or space to cook, a lot of these
Yes,
apartments now
That's true.
are not big enough to really do a full meal. So this is a perfect solution because it doesn't feel like junk food. It doesn't feel like fast
No,
food.
it's
And I
like,
love their name.
would you say that's I know that's so smart.
Moonlight over Paris.
And I remember that you guys had a guest one time.
Oh, yes, I
And that you
did.
guys had a kare-kare, and she
Actually, yeah.
gave a compliment about that.
More than a
right?
compliment. You see, that was for me the ultimate test because I served it up. She knew that I didn't cook it. She knew I didn't order it. You know, the compliment was so natural because she knew that she wasn't like trying to say something to make me feel good.
No.
But she was like, "This is really good, really
Wow.
good kare kare."
I would say Tito James. And I even actually love the chicks and mush, the one that you actually heated in, I think, in the pan. So
Mhm.
anyway, guys, heating process is super easy, as what Tito James said. All you need to do is put it in the microwave for about 6 to 8 minutes or place it in a pan on low heat. And each tub is 225 pesos, but can go higher depending on the variants. And each tub is already good up to 3 people. And they even offer condiments such as chili bacon jam for 185 pesos and the chili confit sauce for 150 pesos. So that's super cool, guys. Hope you can check them out. Moonlight Over Paris on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Next, we go to Double Chin Project. So, Tito James, Double Chin Project started back in June 2020, and they offer smoked ribs made of pork, Wagyu beef, and USDA choice grade black Angus beef. And Tito James, they even offer Wagyu beef dino ribs as well. How did you find the one that they sent over, Tito James? It
This is the
really
massive one, right? Yeah, this is really good.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this because it has this smoked flavor in it.
Everything's smoked,
Yeah, well, not all the ribs that you get are the
No.
normal. See, exactly. So it gave this nice smoke flavor. It was big,
Really?
so it's party pack level.
Okay.
Like you could really impress.
Yeah, just look at the picture.
Exactly.
It's massive.
And sometimes the impact of it is already the value in itself. That you
Exactly.
put that down in a party or a dinner of 6 or 8, and it's like, oh, biglang party fiesta. Everyone likes to dig into ribs and stuff like
Yes.
that. So I really enjoyed it. And good job to these guys.
Anyways, too bad, Tito James. I don't eat beef and pork since the dino ribs look
Too
really,
bad for
really.
you.
I know there's more for
What's
you.
that? Exactly.
More for
And
you.
rocket.
And rocket. Oh no, the balls are so big, guys. Price is 1,500 pesos for a whole slab of smoked spare ribs. 3,400 pesos for a whole slab of Wagyu beef dino
Wow.
ribs. It's just a whole slab.
Wagyu.
The weight of Wagyu. And it's 3,000 pesos per kilo of smoked Angus beef dino ribs. Hope you can check him out. Double Chin Project on Facebook and Instagram. Last but not least, we go to Amari Therapeutics. So, Tita James, Amari Therapeutics started in 2019 after the owner bid goodbye to her career in the BPO industry. And now she uses Amari as her sole source of income since her husband had to quit due to stage 4 renal carcinoma. And Amari Therapeutic now offers homemade natural essential oils and balms made of a combination of mint, citrus, and frankincense. And how did you find it, Tito James? Because to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not really a fan of essential oils, but this one says it offers quick relief against headache, cough, colds, nausea. And I tried one since I came into the studio earlier with a big headache. I didn't tell you because I don't want you to panic. But after trying it, for some reason, my headache just
Really?
disappeared.
Wow.
I
Okay.
swear. I just inhaled. I
Yes.
just got a few.
That's why you. Yeah.
Inhaled it and put some on my temple, and that was it. For some reason, the headache just disappeared.
Well, I didn't know the backstory until now,
Oh.
so I was using it just purely on the product itself. But
Mhm.
now that you tell me the backstory,
Yeah.
it makes sense because this obviously comes from a very pure place. She's in this healing process right now with her husband. If you are caring for anyone who's ill, you're going to have a deeper sort of involvement in what you're doing if you're offering
It's
these
very
remedies.
personal.
It's
because
very personal. And you know what? I can say I felt that because just on the product alone, without knowing the backstory, something about it felt special. And I remember you telling me, do this with your hands, and we rubbed it together, and I put it in. It just felt this overwhelming sense of calm and this overwhelming sense of peace, and it just felt great. And I remember the impact on me was wow, what is this?
just relaxed.
I
feeling.
want more of this.
Yes.
And now I hear the backstory. So wow, I would love to support this girl and her family. And I think that the products are really, really good.
Likewise, Eugene, I totally agree with you. And of course, guys, for those who want to support, they offer these in roll-on spray and balm pipe that have even the kind of different instructions that you can use it, as well as the benefits that it can offer for you. And they also even offer a skin balm, Peter James, that contains frankincense, lavender grapeseed oil that offers quick relief against minor skin irritations, rashes, as well as minor cuts and burns. Guys, price is 350 pesos for a 5 ml roller or spray bottle, 500 pesos for a 10 ml roller or spray bottle, and it's 250 pesos for the Amari balm, while it's 250 pesos for the skin balm. Again, Amari Therapeutic on Facebook and Instagram. Well, that's all we have for this week's edition of Free Book Friday. Stay safe and always sanitize the blockers. This is X. Peace out. Enjoy your weekend. Ah! Woo, 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 woo.
Boom! And that's Free Plug Friday, everybody. That's just our little segment there to help kickstart the local economy by giving small businesses a little place to advertise for free, just so they can get the word out. So once again, if there's anything that you like there that you saw on Free Plug Friday, reach out And if you can't remember the number or the IG names, etc., you can always watch it again later. Just go back to that bit, just scroll back. It really makes a difference in somebody's life when you support their business, especially if it's something that they've had to pivot to. You've heard all the different stories. Almost everyone that we feature here has got this incredible personal backstory, and we just want to help them out. So we need you for that. So there you go. If you want to be part of Free Plug Friday, well, that's also pretty simple. You'll see the at Deaconitis. That's the handle on Instagram. X handles all of that. I know people were asking, is this Miss X? Yes, Miss X is the one who's the one who prepares all of this, and she does it with a lot of care because she really does see the impact it has on people's lives. So reach out. There's a bit of a waiting list, yes, but sometimes you do get lucky when somebody drops out. So that's it. All right. That's Free Plug Friday. As I told you a little bit earlier on in the show, a lot of the time that we want to set aside for today's show is to talk about something very, very important, very interesting for people who live in Metro Manila, or basically anyone who's Filipino, but more those living in Metro Manila. We're talking about the Parex, and with us we have renowned urban planner Paolo Alcazaren. Welcome to the show, my friend. Let's get this party started. Do we have that music? Well, sorry, we normally have this funky music in the background for the intro, but we'll have to just lower this down a little bit because I want to hear you very clearly. Welcome to the show, Paolo. This is your third time. I think you are officially our most welcome back guest.
I don't believe that. Just 3 times. It's
Is
not
it 3
like SNL.
or more?
I think it should be like SNL. You have to do at least 6 to be put in the
At least
Hall
6.
of Fame.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. You leave us room to grow, and this is exactly the way an urban planner's mind works. He always thinks into the future. See, I said 3, he's saying 6. He's building opportunity there. Well done, well played, my friend. Paolo,
everything is context.
Everything is context, and everything is interconnected, isn't it? Right?
Yes,
And
yes.
this is what I wanted to
Just
talk
like
to
the
you about.
Parex.
Exactly. So I'll just start off with the premise that obviously I am the person building the Parex is my boss, right, Ramon Ang. So it's a very tricky spot for me, but I also have a deep loyalty to, I guess, the city, the place I was born in, the place I get. I can see also I can really tremendously respect the guy, but maybe question one particular project. I wanted to bring you on to shed some light on it because I don't fully understand it. I don't want to make any, how do you call it, any judgments without understanding the impact. I just don't want to ride the hype train. I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And then later on, I'm going to ask you some questions that I feel from his side that he would like to ask you. And then we can hopefully get a balanced at the end of this. So firstly, tell us your concerns about the Parex.
Well, the concerns of my concerns, as well as the concerns of a large number of us in planning, as well as in heritage and the environment, is really the benefits versus the pluses versus the minuses of the Parex as an intervention to traffic management in the city. So a skyway along the alignment of the Pasig was suggested by San Miguel Corporation, and my point has always been that it may be well intentioned, but it's ill advised because these types of solutions, quote unquote solutions to traffic, has been dispelled in almost all cities around the world. I mean, nobody's building skyways, much less skyways or elevated on or beside rivers in the world. And and I've cited, and a lot of us have cited all of these cities that have or are planning to tear down skyways. Admittedly, some of them are already old, so that's why they're tearing down, but mostly it's because they've been found not to work to aid in decongesting traffic because of the principle, I hate to repeat it, which is induced demand. There's no way you can address traffic by building more roads. It just doesn't work. And in fact, San Miguel's MRT7 is the more sustainable way to go, and kudos to San Miguel for that, because we need more rail-based mass transport systems.
So, Paolo, just to for those who may not be familiar with your body of work, etc., you're not you believe in certain projects, obviously, of San Miguel, right? I mean, it's not all
Yes.
San Miguel projects or all road projects. So you're just concerned about this. Is it
Yes.
mainly if you are going to prioritize your concerns, is it mainly ecological, environmental, or the induced demand and the effect it will have on traffic? Which one rates higher for you?
Well, it's all of this. I mean, the induced demand and the as a corrective to traffic or to address transport, the MRT7 is a much better solution to our transport woes, rather than building more roads. In terms of heritage, the alignment is problematic. Now, granted, there's been little detailed information in the alignment. The fact is that because the river is not so wide, no matter which side of the river you put the parex, which is anywhere from 30 to 40 meters in width, it will have an effect on the 40 plus heritage sites and structures along the 20 kilometers of the Pasig River. Environmentally, of course, you're introducing air and noise and vibration pollution to a corridor that didn't have any to start with. So we're compromising by this type of intervention one of the last remaining stretches of space that is not that's not hit by pollution.
Okay, so these are new concerns that we would have not normally had. Okay, so the part about induced demand, I can understand. There's a principle. I forget the name of the principle that it's a mathematician, I think, that came up with this, where when you introduce more roads, yes, you're introducing more cars. It's like managing your weight problem by buying a bigger belt.
Yes.
Um, so we all understand that. I mean, Ramon Ang's done some incredibly great things, especially during the pandemic. Um, this one here, he's coming across the same way with a skyway, saying, "But we don't have enough roads." And he, in particular, said that it is. This is one thing that he wanted to debunk, and I'll put it to you what he said, and maybe you can give your answer. When he said a lie is Parex is anti-poor, it will only benefit the privilege of those who use cars. His response is, we have announced that Parex will be a hybrid expressway accommodating multiple modes of transportation. Aside from motor vehicles, it will also feature a modern and efficient public transport system in the form of a BRT. Do you know anything about this? Does this help his case at all, or is it still a moot point?
I'm the last person to ask, because very little detail of the alignment of the Parex, as well as the design of it, has been shared with the public. I mean, there's a almost a total lack of transparency, save for the very basic concept presented for the 19 plus kilometers. And even the alignments in several of the press releases do not jive. I mean, some alignments pass through beside Malacanang, some don't. So it would have benefited as San Miguel to be more forthcoming with details. I mean, um, I lived in Singapore for 12 years, and for those of us who live in Singapore or Hong Kong or even Kuala Lumpur, when infrastructure is introduced as proposals to the city, you see it in the newspapers in quite extensive
Detail.
detail. So you
Yeah.
you know exactly where it will pass, how the alignment affect you, and they have urban design literacy in their citizens. They understand the impacts of this. Here, the assumption is, we're all dumb and we'll just accept anything that government foists on us, or well intentioned as it may be, things like this of private corporations. And what we would like to see happen is a bit more transparency and stakeholder consultation. There was only one that I know, and I wasn't able to attend it in July. And the 14 questions or issues raised by, I think, the Move as One coalition or the Alt Mobility Coalition were never answered by TRB, DOTR, or SMC. So it's not as if we haven't tried. And also to debunk the notion that we only, those of us like myself, only weigh in because it's a flavor of the month. It's not true. River development and waterfront development has been part of my advocacy for the last 20 years. If you read my column in the Philippine Stars, that the late 1999, I've always looked at that because that's part of what I do as a environmental planner, urban designer, and landscape architect. My background is really in designing the public realm, and I have a lot of background and track starting from my involvement in Singapore with the Singapore River, as well as locally in successful interventions in the Iloilo Esplanade. And I was part of the original team with June Palafox in 98, 99 for the first few riverside improvements for the Pasig River Rehab Commission, PRRC. So I'm very familiar with it. I've been writing about it. It's been an advocacy for of myself as well as groups I'm affiliated with, and even not affiliated with, like the Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners and Philippine Association of Landscape Architects. It's not that we jumped on this because it's the flavor of the month. It's just popular now on social media. We've been pushing for this, trying to conserve resources, natural and built. That's also heritage. I'm one of the founding members of the Heritage Conservation Society. So we're not Johnny come latelys into this issue, and we know of where we from where we speak.
Okay. And you were, as you said, one of the master planners of the Iloilo Esplanade, which is, what was your complete involvement in that? Were you from start to finish the whole master plan of it? I think we
I'm
lost the connection there.
sorry, I lost you there.
You were one of the master planners of the Iloilo Esplanade, correct?
Yes, Senator Drilon brought us in to bid for the
Yep,
job
all of that.
under the government. And this was close to 10 years ago. And he brought us to see the Esplanade. He saw what we did in our involvements in the Singapore River and our projects for the national parks in Singapore. And we went through the process of getting the job. The money was channeled through the government funds was channeled through the city, which then retained the DPWH who we worked with to implement the first few phases, after which they picked up. I mean, the DPWH Region 6, there was a learning curve. They learned how to do it because it's slightly, of course, very different from designing public space for people versus space for cars. And so there was a learning curve of a couple of years. But now they're in phase 9. We are now just oversight because the DPWH Region 6 have now become fairly expert at this because and this is unusual for government to spend money on pedestrian and non-motorized transport. But Iloilo has become the most prepared in this pandemic, and they have this alternative mobility network that has served them very, very well in this last year and a half. But even without the pandemic, it gives people access to open space. The linear park is now, the Esplanade is now close to 9 kilometers. And if we did the same thing to the Pasig, it would cost only 1.5% of the projected budget of the Parex. And we would then achieve a linear park the size in area of the Rizal Park in central Manila. And if you include the water of the Pasig itself, with an average width of about 90 to 100 meters, then the total area of the linear space of the Pasig, 23 kilometers, is about the size of Central Park in New York. And Manila, as we all know, and I dare anyone to deny this, is really devoid of publicly accessible open space. And in this pandemic, that's an evening shot of the Iloilo River. You can take a boat ride. So there are things that we could offer as alternatives. Now, the people were saying that, you're opposing this, but what is your solution to traffic? I keep telling them traffic is not the problem. Traffic is just a symptom of the problem of a lack of comprehensive transport system, which actually, yes, San Miguel is solving, but with its MRT 7. So again, like I said, well-intentioned but ill-advised, and the resources of San Miguel could be better spent if only he could consult the public about what we only get the city we deserve or push for. And if we don't take active participation in shaping our city the way we want it, then why live in the city at all?
Very good points. Very good points indeed. I'll read a couple more of Mr. Ang's statements. This was published in autoindustria.com very recently, and I just want to get your take on what his statements as far as what he debunks. He talked about the worsened pollution. So I guess this talks about your vibration and all the new noise and stuff that will be introduced. He says it's not expressways that induce people to buy more cars. It is poor or insufficient public transportation, pollution, and even personal progress of people. So you agree there. The number of
Yeah.
vehicles will continue to rise with or without
Yes.
Parex, is his claim. Traffic and pollution will worsen if we do not build efficient, multi-purpose, future-ready infrastructure such as a Parex. Do you disagree there?
I agree until up to the point where such as a Parex. I mean, there's other ways. A lot of our vehicular infrastructure suffers from ill maintenance. We could improve the way we maintain. Even EDSA, it's always bad in spots, and it's not well maintained. Our whole road system is not well maintained, and there is also the data-driven analysis of connectivity all along the metro. And I point to the really interesting work of planner Leo Poco in Space Syntax that shows that because of the enclaving of the city into the 17 LGUs as well as the private enclaves, connectivity of the network is just not there. So it's to address the aspect of traffic and transport is a metro-wide problem, a challenge that cannot be diluted into whether just the Parex will save it or not. It is really a cocktail of measures to look at it. And the problem is, again, like I said at the start, everything is context. And if there is no one looking at the entire context of metropolitan development and land use planning, which must come first before a transport infrastructure is planned and built, then nothing will work because you're constantly catching up with people who are low-hanging fruit, which is the situation with the 6 or 7 or 8 big developers, as well as the 17 LGUs, trying to plan things in an area without consulting each other or without total coordination. The DOTs, the DOTR, the DPWH would benefit from more coordination with the MMDA, which is powerless. You have the Council of the Mayors. So it goes back to the question of metropolitan governance and planning. It cannot be dumbed down into just one single solution, and really it's much more complicated than that. It's more nuanced than that. But I agree with most everything that Mr. Ang had said, right up to the Parex suggestion.
Okay, I'll have one last question from him, or one last of his statements that you could react to regarding destroying the Pasig River, because this is, of course, a lot of people are worried about it. He says Pasig River, and I'll read, it's a little long, bear with me, has been considered biologically dead and has been reduced to a flowing dump site for solid waste, industrial and chemical waste, and sewage. In terms of solid waste, bathymetric studies we have conducted place the depth of the river at now just 1.5 meters at the mouth of Marikina River and Mangahan River. Meanwhile, the Pandacan and Manila Bay areas are down to 2 meters. This is a major cause of flooding, but SMC is taking action by mounting the largest river cleanup and rehabilitation effort for the Pasig River They will spend 2 billion initially to extract at least 3 million metric tons of solid waste from the river to allow it to channel floodwaters more effectively. What do you say to that? Does that add up?
Yes, I mean, except for the biologically dead. I mean, the scientist groups are mounting position papers. I've seen some already to contest that, and I'm not an earth scientist or a biologist, but let those scientists present their case. Position papers are being prepared as we speak from these various groups, and they will address that contention that the Pasig is biologically dead. And it doesn't mean that of course, all the help to bring it back to life is welcome, and everybody should welcome the help of private corporations like San Miguel to keep bring back life to the full for the river that really isn't dead. The problem of keeping rivers dreads is a problem again in the larger context of loss of erosion from the uplands, and this is a regional problem. Now this is where you have to think in a regional context of all of the problems of Metro Manila coming from the uplands that extend up to the Sierra Madres. And again, this is where I wear the planning hat and tell government that we cannot solve the problems of Metro Manila just by Metro Manila in 17 cities alone. It is a regional context because of the scale, the population, and the amount of urbanization that has destroyed the environmental balance of the entire region. So it's more complex than that. We have to go to, it's a 3-hour conversation, but it would be best with the earth scientists. I would suggest Mahar. I would suggest people from the biological and Los Baños to come in and weigh in on the situation because it's really beyond that. That's why we have the LLDA, the Laguna Lake Development Authority, that has supposedly has jurisdiction also on the Pasig. So the aspects of any intervention in the Pasig must have gone through about 6 or 7 bodies, including the Philippine Ports Authority, the LLDA, as well as the 5 LGUs in consultation. So this is a consultation. I'm not saying that ultimately the government and people in the LGUs decide not to build the Parex. It's all based on whether stakeholders are consulted, all of the information is presented freely, and we can ask questions and we can be answered. Right now, it's all based on press releases, and we're just concerned, those of us in the various groups concerned that this thing may happen before we can fully see the impact of what again may be well intentioned but ill advised.
Okay, I think that's very, very clear. So just to sum it up, because we'll have to leave it there, you're there is a situation if certain concerns were met, you that the Parex could be built. It's not completely out of the question, but you have several major concerns, or there's you're completely
At the
no.
end of the day, citizens have to weigh in, and any decision that affects their future and the future of the metropolis they live in must pass through them. So if citizens are not informed, or if they don't care to get involved, then you get the city you deserve. All we're saying from those of us in the physical planning professions, as well as those from the scientific community, all we're saying is that the Parex has environmental, cultural, social repercussions that should be looked at, and the information discourse should happen before it's just foisted on us and we wake up the next morning and it's there.
Well said. All right. I think we can leave it there. Paolo Alcazaren, where can people find you, learn more about what you do, and hear your thoughts? You have Facebook pages. You have what else would
Yes.
you like to lead them to?
Yeah. I'm on Facebook, Paolo Alcazaren. I'm on uh, uh, Twitter Pinoy Urbanist, and there are various. You can go to Alt Mobility and Move as One. Their movements are on Facebook also, and IG and Twitter. So the little information we have is all there. We're all been trying the last few weeks to find more information on the Parex, its alignment and design. It's welcome that we now find more information coming from San Miguel, like the real alignment beside the Intramuros, which is shown now not to be beside the walled city, but on the other side, which is Binondo. But of course, heritage conservationists will point to the fact that on Binondo side, you also have a couple of dozen structures that could be affected. So it's a matter of being transparent and sharing the information, and telling and communicating to the stakeholders just what will happen and what will be affected. And those of us in various groups are really very willing to enter into conversation, as Alt Mobility and Move for One has been trying to do with SMDOTR and TRB.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Paolo
Thank
Alcazaren.
you.
We'll have you again next time. We'll make sure we get to the 6, okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Till next
James.
time,
Looking forward to
you're
it.
welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Paolo Alcazaren. We certainly learned a lot. Obviously, not enough time to get into that man's brain. He does bring up a lot of great points. It's a very tricky spot for me, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, that obviously, I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Ramon Angens, what he's done for the country, but I think I think he summed it up quite well. It's good intentions, but perhaps ill-advised. And he's not completely close to the idea. He has genuine concerns, and he feels that because these have so many social, cultural, and environmental impacts and repercussions, that each group needs to be consulted, and we cannot just wake up one day and find out that this project is going through without the proper consultation. I think that's all where he's coming from, and I think he makes a lot of sense. And I like the fact that he's not close-minded to the whole project. But I was also very intrigued about the fact that he is proposing the parks, the vertical, not the vertical, but the long parks that go along the side in replacement for the road, which would cost about 1.5% of the total cost and have a bigger impact on the society. I'm not an urban planner, I don't know, but it certainly sounds like a lot nicer to have gardens and pedestrians, and he already has that working model in Iloilo. So certainly somebody to listen to, somebody to follow. We're not trashing the Parex at all here. We're just trying to learn a bit more about it. I understand we only got one side, which is why I asked the side of Ramon Ang, and I got that from the article that was published in autoindustria.com. I would suggest you read it if you're interested in this topic. It's still up there. You'll see the headline, which is Ramon Ang slams the blasts, criticisms, and lies against the Parex project. Well written, and certainly going to give you, I think, a lot to ponder on and think about, because it does bring up some concerns, and it's very balanced. All right. So with that, all we need now is what everybody has been waiting for. You know what time it is. It is... it is... All right, your fans are waiting for you, Rocket. It's your fans, Rocket. Look, everybody. Hi, everybody. It's me, the Rocketeer. There you go. It's just to get you started. Don't do what you did last week and eat the whole thing. All of us remember that, Rocket. You shameless raffle dog, you. I mean, you ate it in front of everybody. You'd even let out a little burp, and then you just wanted to go to your mom. So now we're going to keep you here. It's not going to be long, right? There's only 2 raffles. Try to focus. Okay, here we go. Let's give you some. This is like Dog Motolite, all right? Because it gives him more power, pang matagalan. All right, you like the segue there. Thank you, by the way, to Motolite, who are always supporting the show, especially the raffle segment, which they're a big part of because, well, everybody loves a raffle and everybody loves Rocket. So let's get to it. We've got 3 AirTags to give away, plus we've also got this Cardi Clear over here. They're going to get this whole pack, right? Oh, it's so cool. Look at that. Look at this, Rocket. From Cardi Clear is fish oil, and a lot of people really know already the value of fish oil, so I don't really need to tell you about that. But it does have a lot of benefits, and we're going to be giving you it's almost 1 year, Rocket. It's 10 months. But in your life, that's what, 7 years, almost 6 years, if you times in dog life. Yeah, so it's about 6 years dog life supply and about 10 months of human supply. And there's also some peanuts there. What's with the peanuts, X? I mean, like, do they make those peanuts, or is it part of their?
It's a product in the making.
It's a product in the making. It's really good. I tried the rosemary garlic one, and I really liked it. So somebody's going to get some of that. So Rocket, here's the deal. You can see what he's looking down, right? Yeah, he's looking down because that's where the food is. All right, Rocket. I tell you what, I'll give you a little more of this, but you got to draw out the first prize. All right? This is how the real world works, Rocket. Stop trying to live in your bubble where everything's done for you. Your hair's made kulot, blow dried, and all that kind of jazz. The real world, you got to work for what you get. First, you look at the crowd, give him a bit of a look. He's looking for his food. And then you press the button. Okay, this is something fishy going on here, Rocket. And Roxanne, Kabila, Ontario. All right. Congratulations. It's over here. Our next one is over here. He really loves these treats. Where'd you get these treats?
Oh, it's from our friends from Kun Kun.
From Kun Kun. Oh, but they do blankets.
Yeah, her sister.
He's going crazy over it.
Yeah.
I mean, like
from Korea.
From Korea. Jeez, I tell you what, he's just, I can get him to do anything. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, he's biting my finger. Holy smokes, Rocket. He's getting aggressive. Okay, quick, put up the next one because I think he's going to take a chunk out of my. Oh my God, pang matagal. We're going to run out. We're going to run out. He's going to throw a tantrum. Look at him. Look at him. He's going for gold there. Wow. Okay, work. Press the button, Rocket. Come on. You know what other people have to do to make money? All you got to do is press a virtual button, for crying out loud. Okay, look at the crowd when you eat. You know, if you could Photoshop my hand, it would look like you. Face, Noel Soto. And last, lucky last, out there, tag. You know the bill of machine. What do you think, Rocket? What do you think? You saw? You drew? Okay. All right. Congratulations to all our winners. Hey, thank you also for spending this whole hour with us on the show. I noticed the numbers didn't drop, Rocket, when we were talking to Paolo Alcazaren, and the numbers were actually going up. And that really warms my heart because, you know, it shows that people are not just here for the raffle. People actually do care about their local community. People actually want to get involved. So it really does mean a lot to me to see people still being participant in their society, because as Paolo said, once that stops happening, we'll just get the government, or we'll get the city that we deserve. And well, the same also goes for government. The voting is coming up very soon. As I said in the top of the show in the beginning, I'm not going to be sharing my colors. I won't be campaigning for anyone. I won't be dissing anybody. I leave that. It's a personal choice, because I do understand that no matter how strong I feel about a certain candidate, politicians are really representatives of certain people or interests. And my interests might be different to yours. So that's why I can completely respect if people go for another way. But all I ask you to do, and I think the wise thing for anyone to do, regardless of what candidate you're supporting, is just do a thorough job in making sure that that candidate is not just boggy or not somebody who's just, it's not personality politics. Please, the future of our country is at stake. We've seen what can happen around the world if you make one wrong turn in democracy. So I'm not going to tell you who to vote. I'm not even going to hint. Just vote wisely and do your research, okay? And don't fall out with anybody, whatever you do. This is all very temporary, because when you do fall out with family and friends over a politician that will never even know your name, it's just not worth it. It's like believing the stripper in the strip club really loves you, you know? Wake up. That's not how it works. How it works is you see their policies, you see their plans, and then you evaluate it based on that, you know, not just on what they say, but on actual doability of it. It's something that Paolo brought up too, with the Parex, when he said, look, that's great with the BRT and all this, but I haven't seen the plans. Everywhere else you go, you will see these plans in detail so that you can scrutinize them and actually see if it's feasible or not, because anyone can say anything they want. Not saying that San Miguel won't build this, but we need to see. People like him need to see. And with that, I think I can end the lecture there. At the end of the day, all I want is everybody to be just kind and respectful to one another, and just above all, be safe. So till next Friday, on behalf of Sleepyhead over here, who's low bat, bye everyone. Someone's got to sleep.
Fancy meeting you in my internet. Couldn't help but notice your smile, while everybody else around us is surfing about. Can we just stop and chat a while? Get away from these gray and boring, lonesome days of our quarantine. Early yet to say what lies ahead. It's just the first day of the rest of our lives. Love could be waiting at the end of this quarantine. Let's stop